I am live. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Monday morning check-in and set the tone. You can see I'm looking a bit disheveled because time got away from me a little bit and I was sitting on the couch in my pajamas and suddenly thought, shit, it's about 10 minutes to, and then the computer took ages to load. So here we are at 8 minutes past or something. Anyway, good morning. Happy 25th of April 2022. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sabina. It's lovely to have you. If you are a regular here, I always love seeing your face. Hi, Haruka. Good morning. How are you? Say hi when you come in. Let me know how you are, how you're traveling in these times. If you are here for the first time, basically what I do is check in with you, see how you are, see how you're going. And sometimes there's a topic that I speak a little bit on, but I take questions throughout. So put anything in the chat box. If something resonates with you, let me know how you are. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. Today, I'm going to be speaking a little bit on what's next and being in the unknown. So I did a little Q&A in my Insta stories last week, and I asked, what are you struggling with most at the moment? And a lot of you said, I'm struggling with not knowing what's next. What's next? I want to know. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about what it is in us that drives the need to know what's next, how to access our power in the unknown, the benefits of the unknown, so the beauty of the unknown, and how to determine what's next for you. Okay, so what's happening next is a pretty understandable question to ask in these times when you are getting pummeled, when there's something new, something big, something massive. Hi, Marianne. Like it feels like you might feel like you're being bombarded constantly with stuff, and you walk out into your day, you go, what now? What next? Right? That's pretty understandable at this time. So that's kind of in the collective where you're like, oh, what now? What now? You get onto social media, go, oh my God, what now? But in your own life, you might be thinking, well, but what's next for me, right? A lot of things are changing for you. You might be somebody that's experienced a lot of loss during this time. You might be right in a loss right now. You might be grieving, you might be shifting, transforming. And so you're thinking, well, how do I know what's next for me? Okay, so they're two different things a little bit in like, what's next on the collective stage? What's next for me? Haruka, I heard the mandates are being lifted in Australia. So we can't really, something that we've learned in these last 2 years, Haruka, is that there isn't really such a thing as Australia. We thought there was. We thought there was a thing called Australia that was a country that basically, if you lived in Australia, you kind of were under the umbrella of the same kind of rules and laws no matter where you lived. We now know after 2 years, this is not the case. Where you live, so really what we've now learned is that we are a collection of states that may as well be our own countries. So what you've just heard about, Haruka, is Victoria, which seems its very own little entity, very separate to the rest of Australia, surpassed only by the madness of WA and probably the Northern Territory. So mandates are lifting in Victoria for people that now have the privilege and the exciting possibility of eating in a cafe and going to a restaurant and going to venues. You're not allowed to work, so those mandates aren't changing. No change in the mandates for working. So, but go for it. If you're independently wealthy and you've saved all your money, go for it and eat to your heart's delight and go and see all the theatre shows that you want to see. But working, no, 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 we'll have none of that. So that is what you will have heard, Haruka. Heady, exciting days. So yes, so where to from here is something a lot of you asked. Where to from here? So who is it that wants to know what's next? And firstly, okay, so here's what I want to know. Here's what I want you to know. The whole thing of what's next, have you noticed that you do this? You might turn the TV on, you go, what now? You get onto social media and you go, what next? Or even in a jokey way, you go, right, is it the invasion now? It's the war now. Is food shortages next, right? This is kind of an actual trauma response and a triggered kind of, we're living in a trigger, and that is what they want. Okay, when we live in that, oh, what's next? Almost like we have to duck and weave. Like it keeps us, even if we're kind of doing it in a jokey way, it keeps us primed, keeps our nervous system primed and ready to fight and ready for battle. It's exhausting. And when you're in that state, you're easily manipulated, right? You know, when your nerves are on edge, you will be able to relate to this, I'm sure. Let me know in the comments. When you know, your nerves are on edge and then you hear a noise, like somebody just drops something and you like jump as though, you know, jump out of your skin. That is what most people are in all the time with what's next. Oh my God, what's over there? Now what's over there? What's over there? They want you in that state, right? You're very easy to manipulate in that state. You're you're being worn down. You get very tired. Your nerves are like completely like that. So you pair that with the you know, doom scroll on social media. You pair that with a lot of screen time, maybe a lot of like watching different things, YouTube videos. There's a lot of doom and gloom thrown in there. Not enough nature time, not enough rest, not enough sleep, and you are beautifully primed for basically having a breakdown. So who is it that wants to know what's next inside your mind? It's your ego. Why does it want to know that? Because it wants to know, okay, what are we going to do? How do we prepare? Need to know, is it food shortages that's next? We need to prepare for that. Is the internet going down? We need to prepare for that. What ego does in its I need to prepare, I need to know what's next, I need to know the detail, is it does that very genuinely to keep us safe. But what it does when it's in that mode, and when we let it run the show and be in that mode, we are only ever using the past to determine the future. I spoke about this a little bit a fortnight ago when I said that this is why they keep showing us images of World War II, and why they keep, and mind you, I said images of World War II on my video, I think twice. And below the video was a whole heap of YouTube videos about World War II. So it's in order for us to go, oh, yes, I know this. Oh, yeah. They'll show you buildings, and then our brain goes, I know this. These are camps. They want us primed for using the past as a constant. So imagine this. You're walking along a path, and you've not been on this path before. And so you're not sure where you're going. Your ego goes, we're in danger. We're in danger. We don't know where we are. I can't navigate you. I don't know how to get you safely through this. I have no idea where we are or what's going to happen, which freaks ego the fuck out. It does not, however, freak out your right mind, your wiser self. That aspect of you is like excited. Because what happens when you're on a path and you don't know where you're going is that anything is possible, and expansion is what you're about to do. You're about to expand. Ego doesn't want to do that. Ego wants to stay contracted, safe. So it will be going, oh my God, we're in trouble, we're in trouble, we're in trouble. If you allow that part of you to run the show, what it will do when you're on that path and you're not sure where you're going is it will constantly reach into the past, not just yours, but anything it's ever seen, anything it's ever heard, anything it's been programmed with. And it will pick it up and it will put it in front of you like a template. And it will go, here you go. This is what this is. And you will step into that template, and you will keep stepping into that template. And we have done that as a collective. as a humanity, we have continually stepped into the same template, which is why history keeps repeating itself, because we keep repeating it. Because when we get to now, we've never been to an opportunity, we've never been at an opportunity like this. But in the past, when we've had opportunities to change things, we haven't taken them collectively, and you'll be able to relate to this in your own life, right? In your own experience. You get to a path you've not been on before, your ego starts freaking out and says, oh my God, what does this mean? How will I know what to do? How do I stay safe here? How do I survive? And it goes rummaging through everything you've ever seen and known and experienced. And it goes, here, have this template. And so you go and you live it all over again. Because even though the path is new, the template that you put on it, or that we put on it as a collective and start walking through, is, and this is why they want us to access the World War II template. They want us to access segregation, separation, the diseased ones, the ones that outcasts. They want us to access camps and death and all of that, and go, okay, and just start walking it. So you need to know that the path is always a new path. You can always access the new, a path you've not been down before. What makes it the same is when you bring the template and then you start seeing it from that perspective, you start acting from that perspective, you start reacting from that perspective, and you make it the same as the past. Okay, let me know, for those of you that are here, whether this is making sense, how I'm explaining it, and whether it's resonating with you. So when this thing of what's happening next, if we want to know it on a collective, what's the next part of their game? What's the next part of their narrative? What are they going to try next? What are they going to implement next? That part of it, that thing that in our minds that is doing that, is the ego. It wants to know that, because in your individual life, it wants to know, how do I keep you safe? On a collective, it's our collective egos also wanting to keep us safe and alive. It will go into its fears of survival. So it's going to go, oh my God, what if we don't have enough food? Food and death is just one of those two really easy, simple ways to get somebody into complete fear mode, and then to be able to manipulate them beautifully. You're going to have to step out of your ego to not fall victim to that, right? And ego wants to know that, because it wants to know, well, what do we do? What do we do? I need to know what's coming so that I can know what I'm going to do. I need to know, should I buy gold? Should I put aside money? Should I buy a property? Should I leave my job? Should I stay in my job? Should I grow food? Should I move to the country? Should I go completely off grid? 1,000 million things, all coming from fear, all that will be decided in fear, if you don't just sit down and just take a breath and separate out all of that noise and go, what am I actually being drawn to? What do I actually want to do? Because they're the times when your guidance can come in and actually guide you to where your heart and your soul desires to be, and where your wiser mind can guide you into. Can totally relate. I'm moving to a new city in 2 days, and I'm continually going back and forth with the ego and the new me. The ego is always panicking, and the new me is quite calm. Beautiful. So the calm part is the real you, Harika. That is you choosing your wiser self, your right mind, and going, okay, let me tap into you. And that's the calm part, right? That'll be the part that goes, oh, I'm excited, new city, new adventures, what are we going to do? And then ego's going, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to... So I love that you're already separating out from that, and you're already knowing what that is. So you can see so clearly that you have a choice. And that's how we can know there is a you that is separate from your fear. There is a you that is separate from the least evolved part of your mind, which is the ego, which is going, oh my God, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? That part you can separate from it, you can be the observer of it, and then in the next level of your mastery, you can use it as a guide. And every time you veer off into it, you know that you have forgotten yourself. You have forgotten who you are, you have forgotten your power. That's what it's really showing you. So I love that you can relate to that. So what have we spoken about? What's next, and the part of your mind that needs to know what's next in your own life and on the world stage. I need to know. I need to know because I will base my decisions on this. The other thing about that is that, see, I wrote down a few notes and then I look at them and I think, I can't even make head or tail of this. I'm just much better at just speaking without preparing anything. So I want to remind you, if we're living in the what's next, right? It's like we're living behind the couch and kind of just peering over and going, oh my God, what's next? We're living in a trauma response. We're living triggered, and we're living like with like a really raw nervous system. That is not sustainable. It's exhausting. It keeps you in fear, and it keeps you from being able to access your higher, wiser self. So that's where it's important to go, okay, all right, okay, I don't need to know what's next out there. What's next out there is really not something that I'm going to go into playing, because what if what's next out there has not yet been set nor determined, and we're the ones that determine it with what template we choose. So the more we can live in the unknown, the more powerful we will be. The more we can live in the unknown, the more we get to determine what is next, right? If by even asking what's next, you are already handing your power away and giving your power to the external, because you are playing a game where what's next is determined by what is outside of you. And then you are merely a reaction, right? By asking what's next, you are living a truth that what is going to happen to you is determined outside of you, and you are merely a reaction, a reaction, a reaction. And your ego wants to know, how should I react? Because I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to be unprepared. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to die. So I need to know what my reaction will be before I even encounter the thing I'm going to encounter. And that is how we keep taking the past and bringing it into the now and living it as our future. We keep doing that because our ego goes, I cannot possibly be in the unknown. I will look like an idiot. I could die. And so it would rather just keep repeating what it always knows, what it's lived in the past. It will just keep repeating that to be safe. It would rather do that than to go, I have no idea what's coming and I don't need to know. I don't need to know. The energy of that would be, you create. So let's bring it to your life as opposed to the collective right now. Let's bring it to your life. I don't know what's going to happen is true for everybody in their life. Talk to any older person and they will say a lot of things I didn't expect to happen happened. Some of them were great, some of them were not so great. The ones that are not so great are usually dependent on our reaction to what is happening. Very rarely is the thing that is happening to us the thing that is the issue. Mostly what is the issue is how we react to what is happening to us. So why not in your life bring all the mastery to the internal, and instead of focusing on expectation, what you expect might happen, start focusing on intention. What is my intention here? And let me create my intention, right? What is my intention? My intention is to stay in my power. Well, I can do that no matter what happens. My intention is to be able to connect with a feeling of peace. Well, I can do that no matter what happens. My intention is to stay aware and awake. Well, I can do that no matter what happens. My intention is to act from a place of love. Well, I can do that no matter what happens. My intention is to connect with my abundance. Well, I can do that no matter what is happening. So, see how it starts to become it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When it doesn't matter, ego gets frightened and says, "Oh, but that means that you're saying that you don't care if you get cancer, or you don't care if you lose your job, or you don't care if your partner leaves, or you don't." No, what you're saying is, I allow it, I allow whatever's playing out there to play out. And I know that I am not determined by it. I do not set myself depending on what is happening. I set myself, and I am so intentional in that setting that I bring that, and that is setting the tone. I bring that into whatever is along that path that I am walking on. I walk with such intention that that starts to ripple out from me, and I then set the tone. When we talk about it in your own life, what it means is that you start to create the experiences that you have, not from the outside, not by vision boarding within an inch of your life, not by focusing on all the detail, not by writing it out. This is exactly what's going to happen. And by the end of this year, I will make this much money, and I will have this many clients, and I will da 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 da. That is that whole manifesting by detail is it's very much designed for ego. It's very old world. If you start to focus on intention, my intention is to walk in peace. My intention is to walk in my power. My intention is to use my voice with authority. My intention is to be fully in my health, to be fully in my body. My intention is to connect with people through love, through unity. I walk in unity. I walk in unity. We no longer walk around like aimless little victims to the process and to the matrix and to everything that's happening and go, we must wait for unity. We must wait for, a sovereign being from outside of us to come and unify us and save us and make us sovereign. We must wait for the government to say, here is your sovereignty, which of course they're never going to do. We don't have to walk around going, I'm just looking for my community of like-minded, unity-minded folks. You are that thing. You walk in that thing. And that is the beauty of a clear path. A clear path where you throw out all, which is pretty much what my work is all about, and what my book shows you how to do in your own individual life. And the last chapter is on a collective stage. Throw out everything and go and start to live intentionally and consciously, and set such a powerful tone that when you step onto that path, whatever your intention is ripples out from you, and that creates the template that you experience. And this is how your whole life can already be completely changed. This is how you can already be living in complete 5D, regardless of what the collective are doing. Because I want you to always split things into your life and the collective. Yes, you play a part in the collective. Yes, we are here shifting as a collective. Yes, it's all very important and very powerful right now. But that is not your first focus. Your first focus always has to be you, because it's how you show up as a piece of that collective. And then you look at the collective. And because if enough of us do that individually, the collective changes anyway. Does anyone have any questions? Who's here? How are you? And is what I'm saying making sense? Is it helping you to see the gift in when we don't know what is going to happen next? the beauty of the unknown and how powerful that is. And how do you become comfortable in the unknown? You cannot do it whilst in ego. Ego will not be comfortable in the unknown. Ego can only become more okay in the unknown when it can start to look to you and you are kind of the guide and the leader. When you are the guide and the leader in your mind, then ego can start to go, okay, I'm not in charge. I don't have to run the whole show. You will have heard me say this before. When you're the adult in the room, when you are the adult in the room, in your mind, in your life, anywhere you are, when you're the adult in the room, then ego, which is like, a toddler or like a badly tempered teen, doesn't have to run the show anymore. And then it can stop being so overwhelmed. And then it can also start to stand down in its need of, I need to know what's happening. I need all the details. I need to know what to wear, what to say, who am I going to meet? Will I have enough money? Where will the food come from? Will I have my job right up until this time? Will this friend stay? Will this partner stay? Will I be able to live in this city? Will I be able to live in this house until I don't? And it's a never ending, constant, mad swirl that is really keeping you from who you really are, keeping you from your power, and keeping you from actually creating your own life. The whole question of what is happening next already shows you are handing your power over and someone else decides what's happening next and not you. Is that helpful? Does it make sense? Do you have any questions? While I give you some time to type in, I tuned into a card. I tested up for a card right at the start before I came on, and this is the card deck that showed up, the Healing Mantra from Matt Kahn, and the card that came out said it's for letting go, a guidance for letting go. Because of course, what I'm talking about, a big part of that is letting go how you've always done things, letting go of the ego being in control, letting go of the past determining the future, letting go of things like always, this always happens, this never happens, I never win anything, I always end up in this scenario, I never all of that. And the card that showed up is deconstructing doubt. Deconstructing doubt. And what it says on the back is, only my beliefs are in my way. Can you see that? Only my beliefs are in my way. So deconstructing doubt, only my beliefs are in my way. Okay, this is the guidance for letting go. Yeah, we all can get immersed in ego, and it is the human part, the aspect of us when we are here in this realm, and it is how the matrix is able to work on us, is through the ego. We all come with one. It grows and gets stronger throughout our lives, and it is our job. It's exactly what we are doing at this time, is mastering the mind through the ego by being able to separate out from it, seeing it. And then personally, I don't believe you can get rid of it. I don't believe you can just tell it to fuck off. In fact, I believe the opposite is good, because ego loves a fight. Ego loves conflict. It's very hooked on it. So it would love you telling it to fuck off. It would love you telling it to fuck off. You don't have to stay at the mercy of it. You recognize it, you separate out from it, and then you start using it as a guidance system to show you where you have forgotten yourself. Thank you, but do you mean that we create our reality with our intentions, as in that is how our reality is being created? Yes. Okay, it's twofold. If under the umbrella of all of this is an illusion, right? Once we step beneath that, and then we know, okay, there is a reality here that I'm experiencing, that you're experiencing, that each of the 8.5 billion people on this planet are experiencing a reality in a manner. Each one is different. Each one of us is experiencing that reality differently, not just because we are different in different countries, with different amounts of money, with different jobs, with different genders and different colors. That's not the only reason we experience it differently. We experience it differently because we have our perception clouded by our beliefs. Because what our ego has heard, seen, experienced, it stores away as beliefs. What we have experienced, we start to form a belief about the world, about ourselves, about how it all works. We form beliefs about money, we form beliefs about relationships, we form beliefs about careers and jobs and God and worth and value and all of how it even works. They're all individual. And each one of those beliefs is like when you go to the optometrist and they put the glasses on you and then they put the different lenses in and you decide whether something's clearer or blurrier. That is literally how your beliefs slot in and start to form your experience. So when you're unconscious of that, we could say, okay, there is an agreement that we're all experiencing a similarity at this time. Yes, we are. But then within that, there's so many different aspects and nuances of that. And that is because of the perception, and that is because of the beliefs. And how you clear a lot of that away is you start to do the work that's in my book. You start to do the work many people will take you through, to start looking at your beliefs and to start understanding that the ego formed beliefs about something that may well have been my reality at some point in time but is no longer, or something that was someone else's reality but they taught me it and enforced it long enough until I started to believe it to be the truth. But what intentions do is intentions bring it into the now. Intentions bring your power into the now. With anything that you do, if you take a breath beforehand and you say, what is my intention here? You immediately bring yourself into the present and you leave behind all of that past stuff. So if you start to, if you have an interaction with someone and you think my intention here is to be purely from a place of love, then you will be able to keep accessing that. If you find yourself leaving your intention, get out of what you're in. If you keep focusing on if you keep focusing on your intention, that becomes the most powerful thing. So is the outside still the same? Well, in the sense, yes. However, your experience of it can be so different and can be so transformed that even without the outside needing to change, your whole experience of it starts to become a really different thing. And what happens is, because the whole outside is an illusion, you start doing that long enough, regularly enough, intentionally enough, deeply enough, and consciously enough, and that ripples out and it literally starts to change what you have access to. It's a great question, Haruka, actually, because it leads me to what I want to talk about, what's next on a collective? So that aspect that you can think, well, hang on, there is parts here that are out of my control because there's a whole collective that I'm part of here. And although I can be in my intention and in my power and I can do, there is a collective here that I am part of. And so what about what's next there? So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Hi, Angela. Makes sense. Thank you. I tend to get caught up in the, sorry, My glasses are not great. I tend to get caught up in the mad swirl of what next. Yes, so that's your ego, Angela. So just name it. And go, okay, my ego gets caught in the swirl of what's next. And now you can take a deep breath, Angela, and you can feel you are in good company, because so does everybody else's. This is not unusual. This is what ego does. And now you can understand why it does it. It does it because it goes, well, how will I keep us safe? So how do we determine, so collectively, what's next? With the whole, well, what's going to be their next narrative and what's going to be their next this? So the differences there is that, so here's what I've written down. Individually, anything is possible. Individually, you choose your own timeline. You choose your own timeline with your intention. You choose your own timeline with your vibration, your frequency. You choose your own timeline. You've always been able to do that. What is happening on the earth, on the planet at the moment, that we all know about, that we've all heard about, that everybody's talking about, is this powerful opportunity. So timelines are always available. A million different options are always available. What we are currently in the process of is that collectively we are so awake, more awake than we've ever been. And remember, awake is different to aware. Aware is knowing what's going on, knowing the details, like knowing what they're doing or what's happening. Awake is that plus being able to stay in your power. So aware can be the most difficult stage to be in. And when you are in the aware stage, you can have a bit of a yearning to go back to sleep. You can have a bit of a yearning for simpler times. I saw a meme on Instagram doing the rounds about a whole group of kids on bikes in a suburban street, probably riding around on a Sunday afternoon. And a lot of people shared it and said, simpler times, lovely times, they'll never be experienced again. They were not simpler times by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, you'd much rather be now, where so much of the work has been done, than to be in the sleepy stages of the 70s and the 80s. Did they look good? Yes. Did they feel good for most people in them? Well, in a manner, but not in anything that's real. So what you're really saying when you share that meme is, I'd like to be asleep again. Now, that's fine. That's an option that you always have available to you. I feel a lot of people getting that are making that option. I'd like to be asleep again. Or people that are getting that and completely unaware, that's a different. I'm talking about people who are aware and are still getting it. I'd like to be asleep again. Okay, great. We'll tuck you in and give you a hot milk and off you go. And then you'll have the opportunity to wake up again at another point in time. But if you're already aware and you're saying, oh, this feels pretty shit, there's a third option, and that is awake. And a lot of people think they're awake, but they're not. They're aware and they think they're awake. Awake is being aware, but having access to your power at all times. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time. Well, at all times. But what most of us, even people who are awake, I would consider myself awake, but I constantly fall back to sleep. There are so many things that I'm still asleep on. There are still times where I will forget my power. Now, those times are less frequent and those times are shorter. Sometimes it can literally be like a couple of minutes and I'll be able to bring myself back. But there's still times where I'm falling asleep. I'm still not fully awake. To be fully awake, you would just be able to access your power all the time. So that has been available to us always. People have woken up regardless. People have woken up throughout times. People have ascended individually, and that is available to you. And the journey that you take is available to you. The timeline you take is available to you at any point in time. This is completely independent and not in any way tied to the outside world, to the collective, I should say. But what is happening at this point in time, the opportunity available for us is that the collective, as a collective, we are here to choose higher timelines and bring higher timelines in that sense, to have higher timelines be a reality and an embodied and an experienced reality on this planet. What we need for that is also to be in the unknown, because collectively we keep bringing the template. We go, I know this one, that's World War II. I know this one, that's famine. I know this one, that's nuclear war. I know this one, that's a pandemic. I know this one, and we keep doing it. I know this one, it's the Spanish flu. I know this one, and we just keep doing it. We need to start waking up in the morning and going, I allow this to be something completely new. I allow myself not to know what this is. And then I allow myself to determine what this is. They are two of the greatest things you will ever be able to say. I do not know what this is, and I determine what this is. Because I do not know what this is and I do not need to know what this is will immediately make it something brand new. It will separate you out from your ego going, oh, no, we need to know. No, we don't need to know. We don't need to know, because we are completely competent, completely in our power, and completely sovereign. So therefore, it does not matter what this is, because we will choose our action, we will live in our intention, and we are not determined by the outside world. So I don't know I don't need to know what this is. This is mostly seen in our obsession with needing a name and a label for a physical symptom, for a physical dis-ease. Well, I need to know what it is so that I know and I can know how to treat it properly. Knowing what it is boxes it in, has somebody else, because the second thing, I will determine what this means, is immediately taken away if you allow the outside to decide what something means. And that is also most powerfully seen in medicine. If you sit in front of a doctor and you allow them to give you a diagnosis, then they're going to tell you, this is what it means. This is whether you'll be able to heal it or not. This is what you need as treatment. This is how long you'll have it for. These are the next symptoms you'll get, da, 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 da. They'll even tell you, you will pass it down to the next generations. They'll even tell you, your children will get this. That's how much they'll program you if you let them. Now, I'm not saying that doctor's doing that out of any sinister. He's doing it out of his own brainwashing. And then you get brainwashed. And we all brainwash each other to be these little, to not be self-determining. If you want to be self-determining, it does not matter what is happening in the outside world. As a collective, we want to, however, bring higher timelines to this planet so that the people on it, so that the humans living on Earth no longer have to experience the lower timelines. So we no longer have to have that war. We no longer have to have a war timeline. We no longer have to have famine timelines. We no longer have to have all of that violent timelines and porn and all of that stuff, all of and addiction, all of that lower depression timeline. We don't have to have it anymore. Now, how do we do that? Well, the higher timelines are an option, but they are determined by our frequency as a collective. This is why you needed a certain amount of people awake to raise the frequency. And then the frequency has been getting raised all the time. This is why you see the other side kind of up, kind of their ante in equal measure. Like they're going, we better really up our game, because there is this rising from the awake, and the frequency and what's available is so much higher. This is why they want to kind of like chop us off chop us into the knees and bring us back down to our knees by presenting templates. Here, have the camps. Here, have what's happening in the country that begins with S and with C, and the city that begins with S. Here, have some videos there, coming to a place near you soon. They want to keep you constantly frightened, constantly triggered, constantly in that in that trigger, in that, what did I call it before? Like a trauma response. They want to keep us behind the couch, just peering over, going, oh my God, when will it all be over? Right? Oh my God, when will it all be over? That's aware without awake. When you can come out from behind the couch and go, it'll be over when I say it's over now, I'm no longer playing. And then when you do that in your own life, and you are intentionally walking in your power, intentionally walking in your freedom, whatever your intention is, just focus on one. What is my intention today? What is my intention today? What is my intention here? What is my intention with this conversation? What is my intention with this post on social media? What is my intention with my life? What is my intention with my day? Then when you step and walk in it firmly enough, powerfully enough, intentionally enough, deeply enough, and consistently enough, it will ripple out from you, and it will fully. This is why I'm always reminding you, you set the tone. You set the tone. The mere question, what will happen next, so that your ego can prepare, is saying, I don't set the tone. I've got no power. I am merely at the mercy of life. I am merely at the mercy of these madmen and women. I am merely at the mercy of these psychopaths who are playing games with our lives. And I am here to tell you, you are not. You are not at the mercy. The mere fact that they would have more power than you is an illusion that they would like to keep you in, because it helps their agenda and their purpose. This is the time for you to wake up. This is the very thing you are waking up from. This game that you have been playing with them, that they have power over you. And collectively, we are ending the game that they have power over the planet. And we are raising the frequency to choose the higher timelines. We can only do that if we stop saying, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what's coming. We can only do it when we can be fully in our power and in the unknown, because that is how we allow things to be on this planet in a way they have never been before. Otherwise, all we're doing is bringing the past, popping the template, and we all just walk through another 20, 30 years, another decade, another whatever, another couple of hundred, another few lifetimes of the same old shit, same old shit, same old shit, same old shit. It ends when we end it, and it ends in your life when you end it, and it ends collectively when enough of us are doing that in our own lives. Okay. Hi, Aurora. Yay, I'm glad you're here. Oh, yeah. So go back to the start, have a listen. Any questions about what I have said? We're talking about. So, can you answer these questions? Because that is what I put on the on Instagram for this. So let's see whether I've covered. So when I talked about what's next, who gets to decide? So can you answer that? Who gets to decide what's next? What drives the need to know? What is it that drives our need to know what's next? Can you answer that? How to access your power in the yes, you. How to access your power in the unknown. The two most powerful things that you can say in the unknown. I don't need to know what this means. I do not need to know what this means, and just be in that. And the second, I decide what this means. It's very powerful when you say that to your ego, because your ego is going to say, I know what this means. This means camps. This means World War II. This means another lockdown. This means this means that. Ego's going to say, I know what this means. I know what this means. And you say, I decide what this means. So Does that mean that you say, I decide there will be no more lockdowns and we will all be free and by June we will be no, that's not how it works, because it has to be independent of outside shit fuckery. It is not real if it's reliant on a certain circumstance. If you can only be free when the government doesn't put down a lockdown or whatever, then you are not truly free. If you can only be have a feeling of self-worth when you have someone in your life that is constantly feeding you that, then it is not real. If you can only be in your power when it's very easy to access everywhere you go, then it is not real, because something outside of you is in control of it and can take it away at any time. It starts to be real when you can access it, when you know it to be true, no matter where you are, no matter what is happening. So if I say, oh, I decide what this means, does that mean that I'm going to say, well, it is my intention to not have, you would not have an intention that is that detailed. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't have any. You wouldn't say it's my intention that DA is out by November and somebody wonderful. You just would not have an intention like that, because that is the detail that ego needs. That is full control of the outside. Your intention would be, my intention is freedom, and then you just move about as you wish to. You just move about as you wish to, regardless of what is going on. Regardless of what is going on, you access your intention as much as you are able to, right? If your intention is abundance, nobody's talking about you having access to millions. Abundance comes from nature. Abundance comes from love. Abundance is wisdom. Abundance is access to source. Abundance is whatever you enjoy. I have an abundance of books in my house. I have an abundance of love for my dog. I have an abundance of trees in my garden. I have all sorts of abundances that plenty of people would look at and go, well, that's not actually like you can't eat any of those things. Well, it doesn't matter. I can't eat them and I can't use them to buy mansions. It does not matter. It is what. Just start with, it is my intention to be in my abundance, and then be in it, be fully in it and embody it. It's not about the detail. So if it is my intention to be in my freedom, I don't even check what is going on out there. I don't even check it. I remember sort of early on in the game, definitely 2020, maybe around about May or something. I was buying something from one of the local shops, and one of the girls, the girl that was serving me, she was talking about the news and how it was really getting her down, and I said, "Oh, I don't watch it," and she said, "But how do you know the rules? How do you know what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do?" Um, and I said, "Oh, you know, just be mindful, and you don't really need to know more than that," because she was pretty well, I wasn't really going to go any further than that, but it was just so interesting. And just know that that's not just happening now. You are looking to the outside world to know the rules always. This has only just been highlighted to you now and in your face. Think about how often, so in this coming week, start to become conscious. How often do I look to the outside for the rules? How often do I say to someone, what should I wear to that event? Can I take this there? Can I do that? Who will be going? How often do you tailor yourself to the rules? What are the rules in your family, and how much do you find out what the rules are? My lovely auntie stayed with us last week, and this is how much in the rules she is. When she was going to bed, she said, "Oh, do you leave your doors open or do you close your doors at night?" How much in the rules can you be? So, I mean, that's extreme, but start to question, how much am I in the rules? Like, I'm laughing at someone that's going, oh, what are the rules about this and not this? But how much do you look to the outside for what are the rules? How much are you not self-determining? Um, so that's a really good thing to think about. Okay, I am having all manner of strife. Oh, yeah, that's better. That's why I haven't got what I thought I wanted and thought I was creating, because it's not in line with my highest intention. Otherwise, I would already have it now. And yes, peace and freedom. Yes. So I have written, there is a whole section in my book on how allowing instead of manifesting. Controversial. Even my editor, she said, oh, I don't know about this. This is triggering the hell out of me. She said, everything I learned about manifesting, you're like calling into question and it's triggering me. And I'm like, well, manifesting is created for the ego, because it's all about the detail, the detail, the detail, the detail. And while we're so in the detail, maybe I'll talk about that next Monday. Maybe next Monday I'll talk about the difference between manifesting and allowing, and why I don't really love manifesting. And that was controversial even with some of my friends who teach manifesting, right? I was like, oh, how are they going to take this? Intention and surrender, beautiful. Intention and surrender, beautiful. Yes. Community and abundance, exactly. And so you go, my intention is community, and that doesn't have to look a certain way. I mean, there is communities everywhere. There is communities online, there is communities in person, there is communities, there's communities in your garden. Just seek out community. Seek out community. That's why I have an abundance of dust, washing, and cobwebs. Good for you, Lisa. We all have that. And they just keep coming back, don't they? Look how good we are at manifesting dust, washing, and cobwebs. We're masters at it. Yes, allowing feels more expansive than manifesting. Yeah. Let's talk about that next week. I'll do that next week. So any questions from today? We're on the hour. So what drives the need to know? How to access our power in the unknown? The benefits of the unknown. The benefits of the unknown. You'll be able to answer that now if you've listened to the whole entire thing. And how to determine what's next for you. Okay, I haven't spoken about that specifically yet. How to determine what's next for you. Intention, we talked about intention. Intention will determine what's next for you. And frequency. And the best way to choose your frequency is to be in alignment. You will be, when you're in alignment, alignment is everything. I've spoken about this before. So, in this time, we've all been, I'm not actually somebody that believes in the universe testing us. I don't believe we get tests as such, like from a thing that, from an energy or an entity that either wants to see you succeed or fail. Not in that sense. What happens is that when you intend, you get an opportunity for mastery. That is for sure. And so during this time, having made the decision to not, we've had different options to get around that, in varying degrees. And we haven't chosen any of them up to this point. And I've spoken about it before, and I've said I do not judge people who have chosen that. This time, more so than anything I've ever experienced or anything I've ever known, what this time has shown me so powerfully and importantly is that alignment is everything. It's everything. It is more important to me than this life. It is more important to me than anything I own. It is more important to me than anything. In alignment. Alignment. Because it is starting to get more and more uncomfortable for me to act out of alignment. Now, we all do it because we come into this world completely aligned, and then we get taught to be out of alignment. We get taught to go against ourselves. We get taught to go against our emotions. We get taught not to express ourselves. Don't say that. Don't be like that. Don't be so loud. Don't laugh now. Don't eat that. Don't do that. No, you didn't mean that. Say sorry when you're not sorry. All the things that teach us to get out of alignment with ourselves. We are taught this from the time we are able to comprehend. Taught it by our parents, we are taught it by society. Then this whole kind of like then we've wreaked then it wreaks havoc in those years where it starts to wear on you, where it starts to show up as depression, as anxiety, as addictions, or as different choices that aren't great for you. It starts to show up as disease, as you are constantly going against yourself. This time, more so than any other, obviously, I'm somebody that teaches people to be aligned with who they are. Obviously, I have learned myself that going against myself is actually the biggest, the biggest, the biggest traumas I've ever experienced were when I went against myself. The biggest pain I've ever been at the hands of is when I have gone against myself. So being aware of that already and actioning that already and coming into this time knowing that, it has just clarified that for me like nothing else. Be in alignment. So when people have said, should I get that? I go, if it's in alignment with what you want, if it's in alignment, do it. If it's in alignment, whatever, just do what is in alignment. No one can tell you what is right at this time. So if different options for you feel in alignment right now, go for it. They don't feel in alignment for me. And because I'm so sensitive now to going against myself, that's been the mastery level for me at this time. How far down this will you go and not choose options that could bring ease? And the thing is, they're short-lived because my intention, they are not serving my intention. They would be all about the detail. I would be getting the detail maybe of what I would like right now, but I would be missing the bigger picture. I would be out of alignment with myself, and then my vibration would be low. Does that make sense? And this would then determine my timeline. So if I am going against myself at this time, either by who I'm hanging out with, how I'm being, how I'm speaking, what I'm saying yes to, what I'm allowing, what I'm not allowing, whatever. If I am going against myself at this time, then I will not have higher timelines available to me as an option. And something that I've spoken about with you, Aurora, I'm constantly saying, I choose the highest timeline. I choose the highest timeline. I choose the highest timeline. That is something. So that I just wanted to speak on that. I can speak on more about that next week with manifesting and allowing. How to determine what's next for you. You're going to determine what's next for you with your frequency, because that will determine you. Firstly, can you walk on a path where you don't go, I know what this means? Well, if you're not schlepping along the path, that will determine what's next for you. By allowing, that will determine what's next for you. By being powerful in your intentions, that will determine what's next for you. And by clearing those beliefs, that will determine what's next for you, and your vibration. And that is very powerfully determined by your alignment. Now, I see that you've said, what exactly is alignment, Haruka? I think that might have been before I spoke more about it. Does it make sense what it is now with what I have said? Let me know. And yes, if I can manifest more washing, I should be able to manifest more of anything. Exactly, Lisa. Exactly. So let me know if that makes sense about the alignment, and any other questions before I hop off for today. Let's do 3 cards for Lisa. 3 cards for Lisa. I've just tested that up. It's not favoritism. Oh, good. I'm glad. 3 cards for Lisa from the Rose. All 3 from the Rose. Yeah. Okay. So these are specifically for you, Lisa. But firstly, I should ask, would you like to have them? Are you happy to have them? Otherwise, I won't do them, because that wouldn't be right. It tested up as for you. I was going to test up, is it for everybody? No, it's for one person, and it tested up for you, Lisa. But if you would just let me know if you are happy to have that. Yay. Okay. And just because they're just for Lisa doesn't mean that you won't have something in them specifically for you. Okay. Just see where they're speaking to you. If they're not for you, they're not for you. If they are, they are. Great. Okay. 3, shuffle on any particular thing. Yes, you know, Lisa. You know what they're for, Lisa, and you don't have to let us know. Sorry. Sorry, I should. There's a lot going on with my throat chakra, that is for sure. Has been actually for some time. Okay, one. First one. Take a nice deep breath. 2, 3. Right. Okay, and just let what I have said just sort of listen back to it if you feel like you need to. Do we need the book? No. Otherwise, just let it, breathe it in. Any aspect that I have said that does not resonate, that doesn't feel right, just let it go. If it triggers, there's something there. It doesn't mean that it's triggering you, I'm right and you're wrong. Sometimes things trigger us because they feel like they're an expansion in a particular way and they might be frightening. But just breathe in what I've said, see what stays with you. Maybe you want to get off this video once we finish and just start taking some notes, see what comes to you to expand it out for what you, let it marinate. Exactly, let it marinate. I had an argument with my dad the other day and I felt so bad afterwards and I felt my vibration went down. You know what, Haruka? If it feels right, and maybe write on it first, like, why did I feel so bad? Oh no, why did I have the argument, shows up? Why did I have the argument with him? What was my, what did I want him to understand? Or why did I have the argument? See what comes. And then you might want to share some of that with him. You don't have to share exactly what you wrote, but you know, you might want to, because the thing is, I know when I've been in something with someone, if they've then learned something from it, I'm always okay with what's happened. It's when we feel people haven't learned that things can kind of fester. See how that feels, Ruka. But yeah, that's a good example of what can really bring our vibration down. And at the same time, you may well have needed to express what you expressed. So it mightn't have been the expressing of it. It might have been the how. Okay, Lisa. First card, the rose thread. So these are from the Rose Oracle, Rebecca Campbell. I don't know if you can even see that. The rose thread. Inner call, soul-led, the mystic, living courageously. Inner call, soul-led, the mystic, living courageously. There is definitely a throat thing there, and there's like a shifting up to the crown. There's definitely a thing there between throat and crown. There's a rosebud in the throat and then like a light that's kind of opening the crown. Okay, so I asked whether that was the direction. No, this is the direction. So it's opening that crown to allowing yourself speak directly from that wisdom to yourself and to others. The second card is the child within, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, and tenderness. The child within, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, and tenderness. Feels very much like that is what is wanting to come through the crown. Inner mother. And the third, the reunion. soul recognition, collaboration, partnership, and friendship. This is with actual people. Actual people. The collaboration part is with people, because initially I thought, is it with kind of guides? No, it's with humans. The reunion, soul recognition, collaboration, partnership, and friendship. So inner call, soul-led, the mystic and living courageously, very much like a, so that connection to wisdom and then being able to speak from that to yourself and to others feels like it will lead to the third card, which is the reunion. And what will come through that crown chakra is inner mother, that kind of Mother Mary, mothering, Mother Earth energy. And there's a definite block there. So see what you can yourself get on that, Lisa, to clear some of that. Okay. Okay, that's great. That's great, Lisa. I'm glad. Been having to clear my throat the last few days. Yeah. All right. So you're welcome on that, Lisa. Just obviously wanted to come through for you. Let me pick a card for everybody, for the collective, for everyone who's here. Let's see what shows up. A card to end on, and remember and start to think about, how are you setting the tone? Your intention is everything. Your intention is everything. Okay, collective card for everybody for the week. No, for this time for April, for the rest of April. April energy. Okay. And any questions before I go? Any comments? How are you feeling? What did you love? What resonated? What are you taking away? What's your takeaway from today? This one. Okay, so the rest of April, and get the book. Okay, watching clouds. Okay, I'm going to read out from you to you from, do you need the card? No, we need the words. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'll ask myself about my day. Good. I resonate with the first and third cards. Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Just because they're just they you know, it said do a reading for Lisa does not mean that they are not for everybody. So definitely always look out for, is there something in that for me? Is there something in that for me? You know, in a lot of the group things I've done, a lot of people have said I got the most out of a question someone else asked and my answer to that person. So, you know, I mean, we're more similar than we are different, all of us. My middle name is Lisa, and the first and third cards resonated with me too. Beautiful. I love that. That's great. That's great. Okay, so this card for the collective at this time, April energy. I know there's only a few more days, but these are times when the most empowering thing the traveler can do is to step off the path, stretch out, and lie on the earth to watch the clouds float by. This act is renewing and regenerating. When all the activity of the road diminishes and the traveler allows a languid relaxation to emerge, this is most often the time when the presence of spirit can be felt. This is also the time when significant signs appear. Whatever is the most relaxing to you, stretching out in a hammock, watching clouds, taking a candlelit bath, or walking on the seashore, do it. And the challenges in your life will diminish and often simply drop away. For sure, we need quiet time in order for wisdom, for insight, for inspiration to reach us. When our mind is like that, we cannot hear wisdom. We ask it when we're in that mind. And then if you're anything like me, I can still be like that, but I used to be like that a lot. I would just keep repeating the question. And I was so stuck in repeating the question, I definitely was not open to hearing an answer. So now is the time, step off the path, rest, relax, breathe, allow things to come to you, do things that you enjoy, do things that are relaxing. Remember, let's get our nervous system to just fully relax because it has intentionally been on high alert. Let's just get it down and let's say, I don't need to know what is next. I don't need to know what is happening out there. I don't need to know what is happening and what is happening next in my life. And I determine what this means. I don't need to know what it means. I determine what it means are two of the most powerful things that you can start bringing into your day. Get very intentional with your intention. And remember, that is the tone that you set, and the tone that you set will very powerfully ripple out. I am very excited to be starting a group program for women in, I think it's the 14th of May. This is exactly what I mean. I never know what's next in my work. I never know, because I very much go with the flow. What do I feel like doing? That's just me. I can't do something if I don't want to do it. I've never been very good at that. I mean, the irony of that, I made myself do something for 19 years, which was nursing, even though I didn't want to do it. But there's a number of reasons why I stayed in that overrode that. But since I left, because I had that experience, I have been very mindful about the minute I don't like doing something, I don't do it. And I was sitting with my friend Verena up at the Alinda Arboretum. We had cards out. It was one of, I can't even remember what pack it was in. And we were both doing cards for ourselves, and my one was Unbound. And I said, oh, I love that, Unbound. I said, what a powerful word. I said, I think I want to do a program called Unbound. And then when I did the Q&A recently in my stories, and I asked a few of you, I put the question out, like, what are you struggling with most at this point in time? A lot of your answers were all about a lot of the programs that are currently running collectively, and how by moving beyond the programs, that's really how we're going to access our freedom. And then when I spoke about Gulliver's Travels and about how we're anchored down, a few of you said that was a really powerful analogy. I can really see what anchors me down. So this program is called Unbound, and it's all about removing those anchors and choosing freedom, like going beyond those programs and choosing freedom and sovereignty. So this is the span. Now, I hadn't decided to do it. I just said, oh, wow, I love that. And that would be a really great name for a program. Had no idea what that program would be. Hadn't thought about it again. Put some questions in my stories. You all answered them. I was then thought, oh, I could do something on this. Started writing, thought it's got to be called Unbound. Put the two together. Now, did I create that? Maybe on a higher level for sure, but I didn't know the details. I didn't sit there and think about it and what's the best way I could do it. That is a beautiful example of allowing. And so that's what we'll talk about next week. I will put details about Unbound on Instagram and email them out to the list. But that is a beautiful example of allowing. Let's do that. Let's talk about that next Monday. The difference between allowing and manifesting. Because if I would have gone, okay, unbound, right, okay, so how do I teach people to be unbound? What would I do? And I start creating all the detail, my ego would have come in, would have hijacked the lot, and it couldn't have just evolved perfectly as it has, which is what allowing is all about. Allowing things to evolve and be created to perfection. All right, everybody. Much love to you. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure to have you. This has been a great topic. I think there's a lot of good stuff in today that I hope will inspire you. Let me know if you're watching the replay. Let me know also what's your best take home, what resonates with you, what you're going to implement. Thanks, Angela. Lovely to have you all here, and see you over on Instagram throughout the week. And let's be back here next Monday morning to do the difference between allowing and manifesting. Hi, Sue. Late join, we'll watch the replay. Yep, do. It's a good one. Great. Let's be here next Monday, allowing the difference between allowing and manifesting. Throughout this week, remember, I don't need to know what this means. I don't need to know what this means. I decide what this means and start to become very conscious. What is my intention here? What is my intention? And if it feels too overwhelming to what is my intention for today, if you're like, oh, there's this and there's that, and I don't, is this one and is this, we start freaking out. Just what is my intention this morning? What is my intention what is my intention right now? What is my intention with this shower? What is my intention with this cup of tea? What is my intention with this meal? What is my intention with this conversation? What is my intention with this time on social media? What is my intention with this post, right? Start to be intentional, conscious, and really, really setting the tone. All right, much love to you all. Enjoy the rest of your Anzac Day, and I will see you next week.